Vomiting. Yep, it's one of the body's most powerful, and let's be honest, most unpleasant reflexes. But what if I told you it's not a bug? It's actually a feature. Today, we're diving into the science behind this internal alarm system and how medicine figured out where to find the on and off switch.
Oh, we all know that feeling, right? That sudden, lurching wave of nausea, the cold sweat, that unavoidable sense that your body is about to hit the eject button. It's a universal and, yeah, a deeply uncomfortable experience.
But let's just reframe that for a second. What if that awful feeling isn't your body failing you? What if it's a super sophisticated, life-saving alarm warning you that something dangerous needs to get out, and it needs to get out now?
So, we're going to break down that very alarm system. We'll look at why it even exists, when we might need to trigger it on purpose, and, this is the really cool part, the incredible science behind the drugs that can silence it.
Okay, first up, our body's protective alarm. To even begin to understand how to control this reflex, you've got to appreciate why it's there in the first place. I mean, why did our bodies evolve such a powerful and, let's face it, forceful mechanism?
Well, the scientific term is emesis. Well, you can just think of it as your body's emergency eject button. Its entire purpose is to get harmful, toxic, or poisonous stuff out of your system, and to do it fast. It's not a malfunction, it is a critical defense.
So if it's a protective mechanism, are there times when doctors actually need to pull that fire alarm on purpose? The answer is yes, but it comes with some very, very serious warnings.
The drugs that do this? They're called emetics, and their one and only job is to force that alarm to go off. Now, in really rare and specific cases of poisoning where a toxic substance has to be removed immediately, a doctor might use an emetic. You might have heard of syrup of ipecac, that's one of them.
But, and this is a huge but, forcing this alarm can be incredibly dangerous. In a lot of cases, it can do way more harm than good. If a patient is unconscious, they could choke. If they swallowed something corrosive, like bleach, vomiting just brings that poison right back up, causing a second burn. That's why triggering this alarm is a serious medical call, and you almost never see it recommended outside of a hospital.
Okay, so that's starting the alarm. But way more often, the goal isn't to start it, it's to stop it. Whether it's from motion sickness, chemotherapy, or just a stomach bug, the real challenge is figuring out how to silence that alarm.
And the drugs that do this are called antiemetics. These are the sophisticated tools medicine uses to get control back over this powerful reflex. But to really get how they work, we need to look at the body's internal wiring diagram. All right, now we're heading deep inside the brainstem. We're going to find the control panel for this whole system. This is basically mission control for vomiting.
So, this control panel has two main parts. First, you've got the vomiting center, deep in the medulla. This is the final on-off switch. But what tells it to flip? Well, that's the job of the Chemoreceptor Trigger Zone, or CTZ. Think of the CTZ as the system's hypersensitive smoke detector, constantly checking for trouble.
And here's where it gets really clever. The CTZ is in a unique spot in the brain that isn't protected by the blood-brain barrier. And this is just a brilliant piece of evolutionary design. It means the CTZ has a direct, unfiltered view of your bloodstream, so it can constantly sample for toxins and sound the alarm the second it finds something that shouldn't be there.
So how does this sensor, the CTZ, talk to the switch, the vomiting center? It uses chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. The four key players carrying that vomit message are dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, and histamine. And this is absolutely crucial, because if you want to stop the message, you have to figure out a way to block these specific signals. Which brings us to the antiemetic toolkit. Because there are different chemical signals, medicine has developed different drugs to block them. These are specialized tools for very specific jobs. Let's see how they work.
First up, motion sickness. You know that queasy feeling you get in a car or on a boat? That happens when your inner ear's balance system sends confusing signals to your brain. So, drugs like antihistamines and anticholinergics work by blocking those specific signals. They're basically telling the control panel, hey, just ignore that conflicting info coming from the ears.
Now, for a much more intense trigger, chemotherapy. These powerful drugs can cause a massive release of serotonin in the gut, which just screams toxin to the brain. The tool for this job is a class of drugs called 5-HT3 antagonists. Now, 5-HT is just the fancy chemical name for serotonin. So these drugs are, simply put, serotonin blockers. A really common one is Ondansetron, and it's super effective because it blocks that serotonin alarm in both the gut and the brain.
But what if the problem isn't just a signal, but also that things aren't physically moving through your system the right way? That's where prokinetic agents like metoclopramide come in. They launch this awesome two-pronged attack. First, they block dopamine signals in the brain sensor to cut down on nausea, and second, they actually speed up the emptying of the stomach, helping to physically move things along.
Now, this highlights a really key idea in pharmacology. Both metoclopramide and domperidone block dopamine, but metoclopramide can cross that blood-brain barrier, affecting the wider brain and causing side effects like drowsiness. Domperidone, on the other hand, can't easily cross it. It still works on that exposed CTZ sensor, but because it stays out of the rest of the brain, it has way fewer of those side effects. It's a much more targeted approach.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's that modern medicine has moved way beyond a one-size-fits-all approach to dealing with nausea and vomiting.
The crucial point is this. Doctors are no longer just treating the symptom of feeling sick. They're identifying the exact chemical pathway causing the problem, the specific alarm signal, and then using a targeted tool to interrupt it. I mean, this is precision medicine in action.
So whether the alarm is getting tripped by motion signals from your ear, serotonin from your gut, or dopamine in the brain's control center, there's a specific drug designed to intercept that exact message. It's all about finding the right key for the right lock.
Think about it. We've taken one of the body's most basic, most powerful protective reflexes and built a sophisticated toolkit to control it with incredible precision. It really makes you wonder, what fundamental part of our own biology will medicine master next?